Hey ladies, this is Doona here. Thank you for tuning in for our prenatal yoga class. Today we're going to focus on opening up the hips specifically for first trimester as well as early second trimester. And when I say early second trimester, under 20 weeks, because after 20 weeks, you don't want to be on your back for too long. So today we're going to focus on some hip openers on our back. If you are past your 20 weeks, just go ahead and modify. If we're on the back a lot for a long period of time, just go ahead and do something else, maybe in a seated position, or just modify. All right. So with that said, we're actually gonna go ahead and get started on our backs. Once you're on your back, you're gonna lower all the way down and bring the soles of your feet to touch with your knees out wide. Then scoot your sit bones slightly forward so there's less arching in the lower back. Rest your arms by your side. Relax your shoulder blades down your back. Feel your chest open. And notice how your hips feels here right away. So if this is too much for you, you could also walk your feet forward towards the top of the mat. And then maybe separate your legs a little bit, because the more you bring your heels closer towards your glutes, the more stretch you'll feel in that front side. So kind of play around with how you feel here. Then once you find a comfortable position, close your eyes and let's take a few rounds of breath. So especially in our prenatal yoga class, I really like to focus on the breathing as it's going to really help you throughout your pregnancy and during your delivery. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of moments where you feel any discomfort, tension. There's a lot going on with your physical and mental body right now, so the breath is going to help you stay focused and relax. Taking slow inhales and exhales. Let's take one more together. Breathe in. And let it go. Good. On your next inhale, plant your feet, drop your feet down, point your knees up, and walk your feet as wide as your mat. From here, you could tee out your arms, sway your knees side to side, taking a pause once your knees are over to towards the floor. Make sure you don't feel any tension in your knees. If so, don't press down so much. So just focusing on the frontal hips as well as the outer glutes, and just finding both the internal and external rotation through your legs. This should also feel great for your lower back. Good. Then come back to center. Hug your knees into your chest. Stomp your feet up towards the ceiling for your first happy baby pose. Stack your ankles over knees, press your tailbone down, and draw your knees towards the floor, towards the outside of your chest. Feel free to rock side to side, get into your hips, into your inner thighs. Always feel free to modify by grabbing your ankle if that's more accessible for you, maybe behind your thighs. Shoulder blades pressed down, broadening through your chest. Then keeping your right leg for half happy baby pose, you're just going to drop your left leg all the way down towards the floor. Place your left hand on top of left thigh and guide your left hip down so your pelvis stays neutral. Now you're more than welcome to stay here as you open up through your right hip. Otherwise, if you can, If you have a strap near you, you could also hook a strap around your right foot and straighten out your right leg, adding a nice hamstring stretch. But don't let your left hip lift up so your pelvis stays neutral. Feel free to pull your right foot up a little higher towards your right shoulder, taking a deep inhale. And exhale, come back to full happy baby pose. Grab the outside of both feet. Feel free to close your eyes here. Take a moment to relax your body as you press your navel in towards your lower back. Good. Same thing on the other side. Keep your left leg exactly the same. Slowly release your right leg forward. Place your right hand on top of right hip and flex your right foot. So your right leg stays active as you gently guide your right outer hip down. Keep pointing your right toes up towards the ceiling. Maybe press your left knee down even more. Inhale, option to hold here. Otherwise, as you exhale, straighten out your left leg. Make sure to keep your right leg straight and active, feeling that deep stretch into your right psoas area. Breathe into your inner groins. Take a deep inhale. And exhale, come back to full happy baby pose. This time, come into a butterfly leg by bringing the soles of your feet to touch. Guide your feet towards your belly button without your lower back lifting up. Point your knees out towards the outside of your mats, maybe up towards the ceiling, and maybe feel free to rock side to side here. Keeping your shoulders down, still broadening through your chest. Good. Now hook your knees into your chest, grab behind your thighs, and come all the way up to tabletop position. Let's take 3 rounds of cat and cow pose. Inhale, arch your mid and upper back. Gaze all the way up. Open the front of your throat. Exhale, round your back. Tuck your chin towards your chest. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat. One more. Inhale. Drop your belly, lift your tailbone, stretch through your abdominals. And exhale, round. Find a nice flexion through your spine. Tabletop position and straight to downward facing dog. Step your feet back into your high plank position and then lift your hips up. Again, depending how big your belly is, you could always widen your stance. But right now, for your early second trimester, you should be fine with feet hip width distance apart. So it really depends if this is your first pregnancy, second pregnancy as well. Maybe bend your knees, peel your heels down towards the floor, roll your inner thighs back. Relax your head. Strengthen your arms. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, baby steps to the top of your mat. Once you're towards the top of the mat, bring your feet as wide as your mat. All 10 toes points forward. Then bend your knees as much as you need. Grab opposite elbows. Dangle your head between your biceps. Rock side to side. Maybe rock forward and back. Feel your hamstrings and your calf muscles. Good. Plant your palms underneath your shoulders. Keep your toes pointing forward. Then setting up for bear pose. First, be light on your toes. Bend your knees and sink your hips back. Keep your chest parallel to the floor as you reach your arms over your head. Imagine you could place a glass of water on top of your back without spilling it. Holding for 3, 2, 1. Plant your palms, forward fold. You might have to readjust your feet. So your feet should be about outer hip width or a little bit wider. Let's do this 2 more times. Inhale, bear pose. Bend your knees. Bring more weight into your heels. Shoot energy out your fingertips. Exhale, forward folds. 1 more. Inhale. Open those hips. Strengthen your quads. Open your glutes. Holding for another 3, 2, and 1. Good. This time, point your toes out, heels in. Squat down for your Malasana, frog pose. Hand stays on the floor, sitting up nice and tall. Without your back rounding, keeping your posture, feel free to bring your hands to heart. Then actively press your elbows into your inner thigh. Try to point your knees out. Take another deep inhale. Open mouth, exhale. Good. Let's rise all the way up to mountain pose. Inhale, straighten your legs and bring your feet either together or hip width distance apart. Tuck your tailbone to engage your core. Exhale, hands to heart. Then place your hands behind your lower back so your fingertips points down. Squeeze your elbows together and slightly drag your tailbone down and press your hips forward for that hip extension. Roll your shoulder heads back and arch through your upper back. Maybe gaze up for that back bend, opening up through the front hips. Hold for 3, building strength for 2, and 1. Come up to standing. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Place your hands to your right hip and drop your right ear towards right shoulder. Let's take a break from opening up our hips here and let's focus on some neck stretches. Keep your tailbone tucked. Roll your chin towards your chest, hands towards your left hip, and drop your left ear towards your left shoulder. A lot of times we tend to build a lot of tension, especially as we get further on throughout our pregnancy with lots of weight bearing on our torso. We start to kind of over round through the upper back, so it's nice to stretch out the neck. Go ahead and release the hands, roll out the neck here. All right, we're going to take a modified sun salutation A without any chaturangas. Inhale, mountain pose, arms over your head. Exhale, hinge from your hips and forward folds. Bend your knees as much as you need. Inhale, halfway lift. Create a flat back by reaching your chest forward, drawing your shoulder blades together. Exhale, forward fold. Hinge from your hips. 2 more times. Inhale, mountain pose, Tadasana. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, mountain pose, arms over your head, legs stay strong. Exhale, hinge from your hips and fold. Lead with your chest. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, forward folds. Inhale, mountain pose, Tadasana. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward folds. Good. Inhale, rise. And exhale, hands to heart. Good. Setting up for warrior 1. Keep your right toes pointing forward. Step your left foot back. Point your left toe slightly in to about 45-degree angle. Then keep your feet either hip width or heel to heel alignment. Bend your right knee so much that it stacks over your ankle without your back heel lifting up. So if you need to readjust your feet, please do so. Draw your right outer hip back and roll your left inner thigh back. Then reach your arms over your head. Take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, sink a little bit deeper. Maybe your front thigh comes parallel to the floor. 2 more times. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Draw your navel in. Exhale, sink a little bit deeper. Last one. Breathe and reach up. And exhale. Good. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Inhale, chest expansion. Open your heart. And exhale, humble warrior. Option 1, place your right shoulder on top of right thigh as you relax your head. Option 2, bring your right shoulder to the inside of your right inner thigh. Drive your right outer hip back, bend deeper into your right knee. One more breath, you got this. Bring your hands over your head. Gaze slightly forward, then release your hands to the inside of your right foot. Walk your right foot out towards the outside of your mat for your first runner's lunge. Drop your left knee, uncurl your left toes. So you're more than welcome to stay here on top of your hands, kind of rocking side to side. Otherwise, feel free to drop to your forearms. You could still rock side to side, maybe make some hip circles. Come back to your breath. Good. Plant your palms, second set of frog pose. Point your right toes out. Lift your left knee. Maybe in one big step, can you hop your left foot to the outside of your left hand? Second set of Malasana. This time, since your hips should be pretty open by now, feel free to bring your hands, or rather fist, to touch and press your elbows out so your knees can point further out. Sitting up nice and tall. Broaden through your collarbones. Let's go ahead and stand all the way up to mountain pose on your inhale. Straighten your legs and bring your feet back to touch, hands to heart. Awesome. Same thing on the other side. Step your right foot way back as far as you can. Remember, warrior 1, your hips will never be square to the front. But do draw your left hip back and roll your right inner thigh back. Left knee over left ankle. Scoop your tailbone under. Core is engaged. Lift up through your side waist. Keep your arms active. Biceps frames your ears. Inhale, lengthen, straighten your right leg. Exhale, sink deeper. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Breathe in. Energize through your fingertips. Exhale. Interlace the opposite grip. Opposite thumb on top. Inhale, chest expansion. Gaze up. Exhale, humble warrior. Option 1 or 2. This is also going to help you strengthen your legs, which is really, really beneficial for you, especially in the first trimester. Holding for another breath here. You got this. Gaze forward and release your hands to the inside of your foot. Runner's lunge. Keep your right knee lifted or feel free to drop it down. 5 breaths. This is a good moment for you to check in with your body. How is your breathing? How do you feel overall today? All right, friends, coming back to our frog pose. Lift your right knee, hop your right foot out. Sit low. Lift your chest. And let's lower down onto our backs. Awesome job, ladies. Let's go ahead and slow it down again. Once you're on your back, you're going to bring your heels towards your glutes. Setting up for bridge pose to open up through the front of the hip. We're going to take 3 sets. So keeping your knees pointing up, on your inhale, you're going to slightly lift your hips and tuck your tailbone. As you tuck your tailbone, then you're going to lift your hips up high as you can. Don't interlace your fingers underneath your body yet. You're going to press your heels into the floor as you drag your heels back towards your shoulders. Holding for 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower down. Upper back, mid back, lower back. Good. You should also feel a strength in your glutes. 2 more times. Breath to movement. Inhale. Bridge pose. Keep tucking your tailbone as you lift your hips. Hug the adductors in. Drag your heels back. Exhale, roll down slowly. Last one. Inhale, bridge pose. This time you could interlace your fingers behind or underneath your upper back. Get into the shoulders here. Lift your hips as high as you can, chin away from the chest. Last inhale. Lift your heels and slowly lower down. Good. Hug your knees into your chest. Get that nice release through your lower back. Switch directions. Good. All right. So if you are only in your early second trimester or even first trimester, your supine twist should feel good or okay at least. If it doesn't, just modify and take an early shavasana by either, okay, so you could stay on your back if you're under 20 weeks, but if you aren't, and let's say you're over 20 weeks, go ahead and lie on your left side. If you're in your supine twist, let's go ahead and switch sides. Left knee into your chest and cross your knee over your body. Remember, if you haven't watched my do's and don'ts video, twistings focus more on twisting from your upper back into the shoulders rather than your lower. Good. All right, ladies, come into your shavasana, your comfortable position. Please stay here as long as you need as you take this moment to let go of the practice. Thank you so much for joining in. I'll see you guys next Tuesday for our next prenatal yoga class. Namaste.